Hola, everyone. Welcome to Spain. In order to help you to successfully conduct your business in Spain, our group want to introduce some critical business articles that you need to keep in mind. Our presentation consists of three parts: greeting style, meeting style, and dining manners. Okay, let me shift to my partner Jack to introduce some essential information for greeting style in Spain.
Hola amigos. Here are a few things to consider before greeting Spanish-speaking individuals in a formal setting. Firstly, in the Spanish language, as in English, there exist titles of respect that should be used when addressing higher ranking or older individuals. These are equivalent to the English Mr. and Mrs. and are Señor and Señora, respectively. Observe that both of these words use the Spanish letter ñ, which produces an ny sound. Despite the availability of the tú and the vosotros verb forms, it is important that Spanish speakers use the second person singular word usted, or the plural ustedes, when saying you in a formal setting. For example, it is common to say ¿Cómo está usted?" to mean "how are you?" in a formal environment such as a business. To introduce yourself in Spanish, simply say "Me llamo" and then your name. For example, I would say "Me llamo Jack," which translates to mean "I call myself Jack." Spanish nationals, among others, are known for their practice of kissing others on the cheek when greeting them. This is usually only between friends and family, and is not common within the business world. However, should you become close friends with a Spanish individual, prepare to interact in this manner by observing local customs. The Spanish culture is also known for its differing notion of personal space. The Spanish will tend to stand a little closer to what you may be familiar, as well as make physical contact during conversations. Eye contact in public, to a limit, is also a normal occurrence. The safest bet and the default option for greeting new individuals should be to simply make eye contact, indicate acknowledgement in some fashion, and shake hands, just as you would in the United States. It is customary, however, for men to wait for women to present their hand. Finally, as it is also a custom to acknowledge those that you meet in passing, such as on an elevator, here are some phrases to tip your hat to. To say good day or good morning in Spanish, you say buenos dias. To say good afternoon, you say buenas tardes. And to say good evening or good night, you say buenas noches. Thanks for following along on the unit on Spanish greetings. Let us now progress to talking business meetings with Richard.
Before your meeting in Spain, it is essential to build a relationship with those you want to do business with. To build this relationship, you should arrange an initial face-to-face meeting, as people in Spain believe this builds a better relationship than that of email or phone calls. You can also have a friend who has done business with a person before, send them a letter of introduction. It is typical for meetings to begin with at least 30 minutes of general conversation about topics ranging from your children to local attractions. Be friendly and patient, as this step is essential for giving your Spanish counterparts the opportunity to build their relationship with you. Do not rush into the agenda and let your host set the pace for the meeting. Your presentation should be clear and well explained. Flowery language is a plus, as the Spanish are impressed by eloquence. However, allow your company's track record to speak for itself so you don't come off as cocky. Avoid using slang or jargon in your speech. It is okay to ask prior to the meeting if a translator will be necessary. It is important to look for nonverbal cues to get an idea of how they really feel. Keep your eyes out for them having gazes or avoiding eye contact. However, do not take interruptions or side conversations as your audience being rude or doubting your ideas. It is common for Spaniards to make interruptions and digressions during meetings. They are often to clarify points you may have made and show a sign of interest. Make sure to bring plenty of business cards and exchange them with those you meet. When the meeting wraps up, make sure to shake hands with all the people you met at the meeting and say goodbye, or adios.
Dinners with potential or current business partners are a great opportunity to get to know your hosts better, but they are also an area where acute cultural awareness is key. Inappropriate dining etiquette can quickly cause embarrassment and draw attention away from what should be a fun and exciting opportunity to demonstrate your cultural knowledge. Dress can be an indicator of social position, and quality clothing is important to show respect to your host and the dining establishment. It is important to note that eating habits in Spain can differ significantly from those in the United States. For example, lunch is typically the largest and most important meal of the day, occurring between 2 and 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Do not be surprised if your business contact would rather meet for a business lunch than business dinner. Additionally, dinner, known as la cena, will typically happen much later than here in the States and may not begin until 10 p.m. Dining in Spain follows the continental style, which can be very different from the American style many of us are accustomed to. Now you will see an example of proper dining in the continental style. Good afternoon. In the American style of eating, it is common to cut with the right hand, but then switch your fork over to the dominant hand. But in Spain, it is very important to adhere to the continental style, which is a little more refined and proper. Remember to keep the fork in your left hand to pick up food with the fork facing down. Keep the fork facing downward when you bring the food to your mouth to avoid using the fork like a shovel as is done in the United States. Additionally, elbows should still stay off the table, but hands should remain visible, and you may rest your wrists on the edge of the table like this. When finished with your meal, it is proper etiquette to place your utensils parallel to each other, face down on the right side of the plate. Thanks for joining me today. Buen provecho. To finish off your meeting, keep in mind that meals are not the time to make business discussions, and be prepared for conversation to last hours after the food is finished. This is known as sobremesa and is typically the time when business conversation will be held.
After watching our presentation, I think you will have an overall understanding that how to establish a trustful relationship with business professionals in Spain. I believe you will gain more confidence to do your business in Spain. Best wish for your success in Spain.